Hey everyone, Caleb with the Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with a very important video, and that is do not overpay on books. So I know this sounds rather obvious, especially for those of you that have been in the business for a little while, but guys, sometimes you find some books that you think, this might be worth some more. I'm willing to pay a little bit more for this. And of course, those books are generally the ones that the people doing the estate sale or the Friends of the Library sale or wherever you go, it's ones that those people normally noticed as well and thought were worth a good amount of money as well. So first book is actually a set of books, and this is from a recent estate sale. I paid $15 for 2 books. I don't do that, guys. I pay $2 for a book at like a tops normally. Of course, I do more sometimes, but I paid $15 for these 2. And the reason why I did was I saw these and I saw the Photojournal Guide to Comic Books. I was like, okay, that should be worth a little bit of money. And I was looking at it. I was like, okay, it's an ex-library book, though. It had some tears. Like, look at this fat tear on the dust jacket. I mean, it's not pristine, but I was like, okay, it could be worth a chunk. But the problem was, when I was buying these 2 books for this set, they were asking $100 for it. I was like, say what? Say what? And for me, though, I was like, there's no way I'm paying $100 for this. No way whatsoever. And I told the guy, I was like, hey, I cannot do 100 for this. 15? And the guy was like, sure, because he had already done the sale. These books hadn't sold because they were listed for $100. And they hadn't sold, and the guy was happy to see them go because $15 is a whole lot better than nothing, because that's what he would have gotten otherwise. So I paid $15 for these 2 books. I figured they'd be worth roughly $100. And then when I hopped onto eBay, once I was getting to listing all these books, once I hopped on eBay, I saw, okay, some people are selling these for $120, some people for $160, some people for $100. And for me, because of the condition of these, I actually was asking $75 for these 2 books. When I listed it for $75, I mentioned this in a previous video, but when I listed it, I immediately got a couple different watchers. When you get watchers right away on a book, you know that you priced it right around the same, the right area. You know that you got a popular book, all that sort of stuff. So when I got the watchers, I was like, okay, good. $75 is a good price. And shortly thereafter, I actually had an offer for $60, which I accepted for these 2 books because honestly, $15 difference isn't the end of the world. I was happy getting $60 for these 2 and just seeing them go, because when I pay more money for a book, like $15 for these 2, I want to get them sold as soon as I can so I can get that money back so I can go and buy 15 books as opposed to just 1 or 2 books. So that's those 2 books. Again, guys, don't overpay on your books, because this next book is an example of overpaying. So this book here, I thought it was really cool. I thought it'd be worth some good money. So if you guys have been playing along for a little while, the Queen of England just died. And this book here is the Royal Wedding Philtatic, I don't know, whatever that word is, panels collection. So it's an entire thing on the wedding between the now King, Charles III, and Princess Diana. So Princess Diana got assassinated. Cough, cough. No, she didn't. That's a whole conspiracy theory. But it's between Princess Diana and the current king. So I was like, okay, that's going to be worth more money immediately just because of the current news things. Because with the queen just dying and a new king, which is him, I was thinking it'd be worth a whole lot more. And with it being Princess Diana, I was thinking it'd be worth more just because so many people are so interested in her. And again, because the conspiracy theory about her being assassinated, all that sort of stuff. So I thought it was a really valuable book. The person selling it was selling this book for this fun little collection of photos for $25, and I was like, I know we just did 15 for the other set of books, so what if we did 15 for this one? Because I was thinking I could sell this book for $100. As you guys could see, what I thought for that one was $100, and what I thought for this one was $100, so I was willing to go up to 15 for those 2 things. That is well below the normal multiple that I try to shoot for my money. However, when it's larger numbers like that, like $100, sometimes I'm willing to go a little bit higher. Of course, I still like to keep it at $1 as my average price, but sometimes, again, I do go over. And on this one, I actually did get a little bit burned on that. So this book, I thought this one was really interesting when I was listing it, because I looked it up and I immediately saw that I overpaid in such a big way, paying $15 for this. $15, there were some people selling this book for $15. So I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh no, I'm going to lose so much money. This was a mistake. And there were some people, though, asking as high as $200 for this. So I was like, well, there's some hope, but I looked at the condition of everything. I was comparing everything, and I realized the people asking 200, they just threw out a really high number. I don't think they're ever going to sell their thing unless they drop it to what other people are selling it at, because other people are selling this for as low as $15, as high as like $30 some dollars. According to eBay, the average sell price for this particular book was $27 and some change. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to swallow my pride. I'm going to ask for $27 for this book. So that's what I asked for, and I actually had some offers pretty early on. Someone was like, I'll give you $16 for it. So I was like, yeah, that's a big fat no. Big fat no, because $16, once you take away the eBay fees and all that sort of stuff, I'd actually lose money on this book. And then someone else offered me $20, someone else offered me $24, and I was pretty firm at $25 because I was like, there's no way I'm dropping below $25, because $25 is basically break even for this book. So this book, basically, as soon as I got back to someone with a $25 offer, I got another couple offers, everyone all over the board. So I eventually sold this for $25, so I was happy to see this one go. I'm going to make like, what, $3 on that in the long run. But I was happy, again, guys, to see it go because I overpaid for that book. I wish that I was able to look it up when I was doing it, but I'm not able to look up all my books all the time because for me, I tell people I live in the Wild West because it's funny. As soon as you get over like the Mississippi over a few miles, you know, it's like all of a sudden everything's so different compared to the East Coast. The East Coast, it's like, oh, they have trains out of the wazoo, you know. It's like they got everything. Infrastructure's amazing. Then you get like over the Mississippi a little ways past Texas, and it's like all of a sudden like, yeah, you got to go to the highway. It's like 200 miles that way. Or it's like, yeah. Well, actually, fun story. So as I mentioned in another video, guys, I'm working on starting a gold mine, and I was driving on the highway, scouting out areas for gold, you know, on the highway, literally driving on the highway. And then the highway turned into a gravel road. Like, I'm not talking like I took an offshoot and turned into gravel. No, like literally the highway itself turned into a gravel road, guys. Like, that's what happens in Oregon sometimes, is it's such a Wild West sort of area. And because we're such a Wild West area and we have such tall mountains and all that sort of stuff, our cell data is absolute trash sometimes. Our internet is absolute trash sometimes. And it's really funny. It's like such a... Really, guys? Why is this happening? We're in the 21st century, but it's something that I think is sort of funny. I get amusement out of it. But yeah, the internet's not the best out here. So when I was at this particular estate sale, I did not have reception, or I was able to get like a couple searches out because I had like one bar sometimes in certain corners, but only for a couple minutes. So it wasn't great. So I wasn't able to look these things up. So I was risking it in a big way on these books, especially paying $15 because, as I've said before, guys, I try to pay $1 per book for these things. So I was paying 15 times the normal because I was thinking these were worth more. And at the end of the day, I was basically correct on the comic book ones. Honestly, I think I could have gotten $100 for it if I sat on it, but I didn't want to sit on it. And for the wedding photos, though, this little pamphlet of wedding photos, I lost, guys. I lost on a big way because they were not worth what I expected they were worth. But at the end of the day, though, they still sold. They sold for basically what I wanted, $25 instead of $27. I mean, that's a rounding error. I'm fine with that. But it's something that you guys definitely have to keep track of when you guys are running your businesses. Sometimes you're going to overpay on some books. For me, I am too stubborn. My last name actually comes from my family's basically stubbornness. I don't share my last name because trolls on the internet, all that sort of stuff. Don't want to mess with my other things that I got going on. But there is a lot of stuff that goes on. And for me, I'm too stubborn to take a loss. I'd rather lose 15 and sit on the book for 10 years as opposed to losing the money completely and swallowing the loss right away. So that's just how I run my business. I'm sure you guys can do it differently. I'm sure most of you guys aren't as stubborn as me because I just like being stubborn. That's what I'm good at, I guess. But yeah, I hope this video sort of inspires you guys to not overpay on books. Keep that in mind the next time you're negotiating on a book. Like, again, guys, if I paid $25 for this book, like the people were asking, I would have completely lost on it. I would have sat on this book for a very long time. I would have had to wait for King Charles to die, basically, until it was worth something. And for the comic books one, if I paid $100, I would have lost my shirt on that one too. So I had to negotiate down because I knew enough to be like, okay, I know comic books. I know roughly what their worth is on books like this, so I could charge this much. I can pay this much, sorry. The wedding photos one, I've never done that before, though, guys. Like, believe it or not, an antique bookseller is not the same as a basically scrap bookseller, you know? So I didn't know what the value was on that, so I was trying to be conservative. I was like, okay, it's on the royal family, though, so it should be worth this much, especially with current events, that sort of stuff. So I was sort of playing with all these ideas. I was trying to be as conservative as I could while not being so undercutting on the price that they said no, you know? So Did I win? Not really. Did I lose? Not really. I sort of ended up in the middle of the pack, so it's like, I'm not happy, I'm not sad, but money's money. At the end of the day, it's nice to have this money back in my pocket. I'll be actually shipping these 2 books out in a little bit. I'm actually going to do another video on this in a couple seconds for a part of selling these books that I thought would be very interesting for you guys. I should be releasing that video shortly after doing this one, just so you guys can watch the 2 of them. So with all that said and done though, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out one of my other videos. Be sure to subscribe. If you guys want to see more failures and successes of my business, that's where you're gonna see more of it, is if you subscribe. So thanks for watching. Be sure to share what things you've overpaid for in the past down below in comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.